agree to disagree.
Yeah, like.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We're so excited. Today we are filming a Q&A. On Instagram, we posted that we were going to be filming this. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, head over and follow us so you can keep up to date on these type of things. But yeah, we just got quite a few questions that
I'm just excited.
I'm just going to read off and we'll just answer as we go.
Okay. Here we go, guys.
There's some really good ones. Like some I'm like, oh, that's a good one.
I love these types of videos because it just helps you get to know people like on a different level.
And like questions that we would never even think about like talking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so first one. How have you taught or are you teaching your babies their body parts, like their eyes, their nose, ears, head, etc.?
I don't know.
Leo only knows his ears and his nose. And I think that's just because like every time like I was nursing him or now when I'm like bottle feeding him and I'm holding him or laying on the floor next to him, he'll always just touch my face. And every time I touch my nose, I say nose and then I touch his nose. And I do that like 50 times while he's eating. And then when I'm holding him, he'll usually grab my ear, touch my ear, and I say ear. And then when he's tired, he holds his ear. And I'm like, oh, your ear. So I think it's just like letting them know what it is. That's what I've done for Leo. But other than that, I haven't like sat down with him and taught him. I think you have more experience of that.
Yeah, and just like Shelby, just repetition.
Yeah.
I would just, I don't know, when they're probably about Leo and Indy's age or a little younger, you just start like eyes, nose, and just point to everything. And then, I don't know, just over time, they pick it up so quickly.
Yeah.
So just repetition and they'll get it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be some like dedicated, let's sit down and do this, just in passing, buckling them in their car seat, you know, say a few of them.
And I think too, just like she said, like if they touch like a body part, be like, oh, your hand, let me hold your hand. Like just repetition. Yeah, that's a good one. Do you have any regrets in mom life? Oh, this one's hard.
I know.
Just like a light-hearted regret, swimming lessons.
Yeah.
I never did swimming lessons with my kids. It was just one of those things that like always got pushed on the back burner with everything else going on in life. And luckily the boys are learning how to swim and have learned how to swim, but that is one like light-hearted regret that I have. And I'm like, well, drop the ball on the swimming lesson.
Mine, I guess, is something we were just talking about, breastfeeding. Totally gave up. I gave up. She would have kept doing it for probably until now, but I was over it. Right? Yeah, she was 4 months.
4 months is still a long time though, man.
It's good.
It is. But it was totally me. Had nothing to do with her.
And you said with your next kids in the future, you want to try longer, right?
That's top priority, you said.
Top priority.
And I think for me, I feel like I've created a clingy baby, which I mean, I'm totally okay with. I love him being a mama's boy and I love him being clingy. But sometimes I feel bad for family members or friends that are like, oh, Leo, come here. And he's like, no, I want my mom. I don't mind it at all, but I feel like sometimes he offends people. So I think just giving him away for a minute is what I need to be better at. Okay, what are some tips for potty training boys at 18 months? And Kenzie's the master at this, and I think we've already talked about it. You have a full-on video that you and Cody made on your vlog channel.
Yep, I have a whole video dedicated to potty training.
We'll link it right here.
Yes, I have potty trained 4 kids successfully now. Canyon was the oldest when I potty trained him, and he was 2.5. So Kodo was 18 months old, Carson was 19 months old, and Kinley was 19 months old when I potty trained them. And my biggest tip is monkey see, monkey do. Just like anything, if they see you doing something, they're gonna try to mimic and follow what you're doing. So I've always, and call it a super like open family, but I always, especially when they're little, because I don't want them to get into trouble when I'm going to the bathroom, I either bring them in the bathroom with me or just leave the door wide open. So they'll come in and I'll say, mommy's going potty, and then I'll say, we make it fun, like flushing it, say bye pee-pee, and they'll flush it and like bye. Like, I don't know, just make it something that they see and that they're used to and aware of.
And I think, I obviously haven't potty trained anyone, but I read this really cool article about it like a year ago, so I was like, I want to do that when I have my baby. So Santa Claus brought Leo a tiny little potty that sits right next to mine, and now that he's like standing and like getting a little closer to walking, he'll be 1 this month, that every time I sit down to go pee, I try to like put him by his toilet or sit him on his toilet while I am going to the bathroom, just so he starts to understand like, oh, mommy's doing that, I need to do that. It's not obviously clicking yet. I don't think it will for a very long time. And it's not something that we're like enforcing right now. But just like getting used to the idea of like, oh, I sit here, you know?
Yeah, well, and that's the biggest thing too, is every kid will be ready at a different time. So don't say like, her kid was potty trained way younger, I have to hurry to do this. No, like every kid, especially if they didn't see it often at a very young age, it's gonna be a little later for them, and that's okay. So just whenever they start showing you signs.
I think too, a big thing is they'll start to tell you, like when they're going to the, like with Kinley,
she would start taking her diaper off and say, pee, mommy.
Yeah, you can just tell. So yeah, if you're thinking 18 months, wait till your kid's ready.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so go watch Kenzie's video. There's so much more info on it. How do you ladies keep your romance alive after babies? That's a good one. Maddie laughs because I just read this question alive. And what was your aloud a few minutes
It's
ago?
hard. It's really hard. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's all roses and everything's great. No, it's been hard, like super hard. And yes, she's 11 months old already, but it's definitely been something that we have to work on. Shelby actually shared an article with me. I don't know if this is too open, but it was an influencer on
Heidi Powell, the real Heidi Powell.
Yes.
She's a fitness guru. She posted such an awesome post about this and also did a blog post about it. So if you are struggling here, I shared it with Maddie. Go read it because it's very real and gives so much good advice.
Well, and she's very open and blunt in it, and the blog's amazing, the blog post. And pretty much what it is it's a 30-day sex challenge between you and your partner, and she
Like committing to every day for 30 days.
No matter what.
And in the blog, she talks about couples going through divorce, or even like couples who are great but still just want to work on your marriage. Like, it doesn't mean like you're struggling, just help you and
strengthen things.
the month of February, like, we did the challenge and it was awesome, and I do think it helped. I think the blog post is amazing. I think if any of you are struggling with it, go and look at it. And like she says in the blog post, like, oh, 30 days, that's a long time. Are you sure about this? But it's awesome. Like, I would go read the posts, read everything she has to say. But I think it's helped, but it's definitely something we have to work on every day.
Well, and I think just making that effort of finding a couple moments for just you and your spouse away from the kids, because it is really hard now having 5 and like all the different activities and school and everything that's going on, that we really don't get like real dates. But we make it a point every single night. Kids are in bed 8 o'clock, and that is our time. We get some snacks, we watch a movie, and that is mine and Cody's time every single night. And that, seriously, that's like our saving grace.
Something that Heidi says in that is, she says it's not even like the sexual interaction. The point was there was a half hour at least every night where neither of us were on our phones, neither of us were looking at the TV, neither of us were with our kids. Like, it was just you and him. So even if you're not doing anything, like, you need, like, they're still your partner, like your spouse. You need to have the alone time without the distractions of everything else.
Totally.
I would say for Steve and I, date night's huge for us, and we try to go at least every other week on a date night.
You guys are pros at that.
Yeah.
It's so important to us because we love spending time with one another, but with our crazy work schedules and now having Leo and us wanting to just spend every waking moment with him, we understand that it's so important to still have date night. So for me, I think as a woman, I feel more sexual and romantic when I get ready, I get dressed, like fancier than
more
just
desirable.
Yeah, like I'm not just in my leggings and like a cute shirt. Like, I can actually put jeans on and maybe throw on some wedges or heels and do a little more makeup for a date night. And that way you feel like, oh, this is a little more romantic because I'm putting more effort into myself, and put like your expensive fancy perfume on. You know what I mean? So I think just first of all putting like more thought into yourself, and then enjoying more alone time with your significant other.
Well, and you think about it, you think about how much that means to you when your husband does that. Like, takes a little extra time to be presentable for you. They feel the same. Like, it means a lot to them. So.
Yeah, totally. Okay. How did you support, encourage, cheer each other on when you were growing up?
As we laughed out loud at this one.
Okay, I think we are just like every other siblings. We get so many comments. We have gotten comments our entire life that we are so lucky and so blessed to have such close family with our parents and our siblings. Like, there's no one like us. We hear these type of things all the time. It makes us laugh. We are close, but it makes us laugh because we're like every other siblings. We fight and we bicker and we
hard,
argue.
you guys.
We will probably have Papa come and share a story about one time we were fighting so bad over clothes that he literally got all of our clothes out of all 3 of our rooms and
it was like a mountain.
Wrote our name on the tag, and he said, if I see any of you wearing someone else's shirt, you're in trouble. So like we used to bicker and fight, and we still do.
I was gonna say not used to, like we still have occasional arguments.
We are normal siblings. We disagree. We still can make each other cry to this day because we are in heated arguments.
Well, and not only that, we spend a lot of time together. We talk a lot, so obviously we're gonna have disagreements.
But I think the thing though,
I think the one thing we've always done though that we have seen other people struggle with is we are very open. So if there is something that we feel like we're holding back, we just say it. I'm sorry if this hurts you, but this is how I feel, because I've seen personally people that I'm close with, they have this thought or they feel like they need to say this, but they're just going to hold it in. And then they kind of resent that sibling for a few weeks until they forget about it.
Or it builds up to where they just don't even talk to them or see them anymore.
So I feel like you need to be very open, especially with family, because family is most important and that's typically who you spend most of your time with. And so I think with us, we've always been very open, so that does cause arguments
and then we fix it and we get over it quickly.
Yes.
So we will fight hard and we'll yell at each other and we'll cry, but then we apologize and we say, just like, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I had to call Shelb and say, dude, I'm so sorry I made that comment. I did not mean to hurt your feelings. I love you.
And my response was honestly, like, I've had such an emotional week.
I was just tired.
I'm tired. Like, it's just been a crazy week, so it's no big deal. And then I don't even think we thought twice about it.
But that's kind of like why we wanted to start this whole channel in the first place is we're all sisters and we love each other, but we all have different opinions on so many things. And I think that's why we argue so much is we all 3 get so passionate in what we think.
We think we're all right.
But like Maddie said, with starting this channel, we wanted to celebrate that you do not have to disagree on things to be best friends.
Agree to disagree.
Like you do not have to have the same views on everything to get along. You can have completely opposite views on everything and still get along. So,
but one thing we did say about growing up and supporting each other is even though we could fight hard and we could be mean to each other and yell at each other, we were also very protective of each other.
Well, and we wanted the best for each other.
So if any of our friends or our siblings' friends would offend them, we turned into like Mama Bear. Like Maddie could tell you a million of her friends that I have been very mean to because they hurt her feelings. But like 5 minutes later, I was probably yelling at her. So it's just, we always had that protective, and I think all our siblings always felt that way. I always knew they had my back, and you guys, I'm sure, always felt that way too.
Always, we have each other's backs, and just deep rooted in like our hearts, we just truly want the best for each other. So obviously that we were always rooting for each other despite the arguing and bickering, you know?
Yeah, totally. Okay, this one's kind of hard. What is your best attribute about yourself?
This can kind of be uncomfortable to compliment yourself because you don't want to feel like you're being cocky or conceited.
I think for me, and Steve sometimes gets so mad at me, and I'm very much like this because our mom is like this, but I will give my loved ones anything and everything that I have. Like I will walk out into the snow barefoot, completely naked, as long as my loved ones are covered and warm. And he always tells me, he's like, you need to put your own oxygen mask on before you put other people's oxygen masks on. I love that about myself. I love that I am so giving. Of course it can be dangerous, but I don't think it's ever a bad thing. So I love that about myself. I'm very giving.
That's
awesome. You are very giving.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, mine, and I know this is something my family members don't love about me, is I'm forgiving. I do.
You're the most forgiving person.
And
we love it to a point, Mads.
I know, but it's just like,
we just don't want to see her get hurt.
And there are people, obviously, especially right now, that do things to my family members that frustrate me, and I do not like people at certain times, but at the same time, if you do something to me, it's not worth it to hold a grudge. Like, I'll be mad for a second, but I'm like, first of all, life goes on. I'm over it. Like, it's not gonna dictate the rest of my life. Second of all, like, I'm not here to judge you or give you yours. Like, you'll get it when you get it. Like, it's not my place.
I think your biggest thing with being so forgiving, though, is you know your value. And you don't allow anyone else to drag you down, you know?
And you just know, like, it's only going to help me by forgiving you. So, you know.
Yep.
Okay, Ken's.
I don't know, you guys. This is kind of hard for me, but I would say probably that I'm fiercely loyal and protective.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
true.
almost to a fault, and it has been to a fault sometimes because it has got me in trouble sometimes, but I protect the people that I love hard, and and I don't know, and I feel like I've always been very loyal to those who are close to me, and I don't know, I'm just protective, and I feel like that's always been a very, very strong attribute of mine.
It has. Yeah, I like that.
Oldest sister. It comes with the territory.
I really like that question though. I think
Yeah.
you guys should answer that question in the answers because it's kind of a tough one. Like it makes you think. So in the comments, let us know what your greatest attribute is about yourself. Okay. Was it hard to decide if you wanted your mother-in-law in the delivery room, and how did you decide?
Well, I'll go first. I didn't have to decide. I had a C-section, so it was Ryan and no one else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how as easy as it was for me.
Which is kind of nice because
Yeah.
it keeps it intimate.
But if I would have had a vaginal birth, I would have had
Michelle there.
Michelle in the room. Mostly because she doesn't have daughters, so she will never get to experience it. So I've always, like, with our wedding, with everything, I've always, like, tried to have her do
For
the
everything.
mother stuff too, just because she's never experienced it.
I think just because of how we are with family, like family is so important to us, and we're very open, and it's just like, come on, like this is a major life thing. All of our family is gonna be there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of just how we are. Where more people like to be more private, and that's okay. But I just think it wasn't ever really a question. Like I did, especially for Dakota because he was my first one. I was nervous because it's like, whoa, that's like.
Legs wide open.
Like, I don't know, like you just feel very vulnerable. And
You do.
especially because I had only known my mother-in-law for a year at the time, you know? But it was never a question. I was like, yeah, I would love them to be in there. So I always had moms and sisters were just welcome. But I do remember saying like, I would like it to be a little more intimate for a couple of them. So it was nice that Canyon and Kinley were so fast because then it was just a couple people. And like you weren't even there for Kinley. I don't know. I just think it's a very personal decision and you have to make it 100% for you. So if you're not comfortable with it, just be totally honest. Like, and that's all you can do is be so loving and honest when you tell them. But for me, it was just never a question because it's a family event and I have 4 boys. And when their wives have a baby someday, I hope that I could be there. So
Yeah, good point. For me, Steve and I actually did talk about this, and we talked about it a lot because I'm like, who do I want in the room? Because of course I wanted it intimate, and I wanted the idea of just Steve and I being there was a great idea, and I love that. Like couples that do that, like good for you, because I think that would be so great. But at the same time, I was like, but my mom has to be there. And if my mom's there, then my 2 sisters have to be there. And so thinking like my mom and my 2 sisters will be there, and Steve will be there. And my mother-in-law and I are very close. She is so kind. And I think with Steve and I wanting a baby so badly, she was one of our biggest cheerleaders, and she was so sweet. She'd always text us and say, I'm praying so hard for you today. And she's just the sweetest that she put so much effort into our pregnancy and everything that I wanted Steve to have his mom there too. And it was a decision that we struggled with because yeah, we do want it to be intimate with just me and Steve and maybe my mom. So we really had to think about it. And when we did make the decision to have his mom be there, I also wanted his little sister to be there.
well, and you are more of a private person physically.
I am,
Like she's
yes.
very like
I'm more modest than my siblings as far as like, I like my privacy.
yeah, where me and Matt are like, we don't care.
And so we actually did talk about it, and it took us a few weeks to make that decision. So think about it, talk about it. If you need to pray about it, if you need to meditate about it, seriously, like don't make the decision like on a whim when you're sitting down talking to your mother-in-law. Like make sure you really think about it, because when we sat down and invited her and my sister-in-law to come, they were so excited. And at that point, you can't turn around and uninvite them. So make sure that you know for sure. And if you decide not to have them in the room, just let them know like, hey, like, I just want me and my husband and maybe my mom in the room, but I'd love you to come see the baby right afterwards. Like I will call or text you when they're here, and you're more than welcome to come visit.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would get offended by that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's you and your baby, you know, like you make the ultimate decision. It's no one's.
I did say though to
decision.
Steve, because I did want so much skin to skin time with Leo after I had him because of all the benefits with that. I did tell Steve. And I think too, once I was in labor, because our families are so close, more and more family just kept coming in.
You had a full room.
That I wish, like sometimes looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I wish Steve would have like cut it off. But at the same time, like it was so great to have everyone there. But I think the thing that Steve was really good at, that you like, if you have a plan or an idea in your head, like drill that in your spouse's head. Like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I told him as soon as he's here and everyone says hi, bye. Like
then it's our time.
I want Leo time. I've never nursed before. I need to figure this out. It's going to be hard. It's going to hurt. It's going to be weird and scary. Like, I just don't want to feel like I'm entertaining people, and I don't want to share my baby right now. So I think within like 10 minutes after I had him, everyone was gone.
And we knew that. We
Yeah.
seriously were like, he's gorgeous, he's perfect,
So
we love him, we love you guys.
Set
See ya.
those expectations. If you want them in the delivery room, but you don't want them there afterwards, set that before the baby gets here. And the family was so great and respectful in that, and it went smoothly.
Well, and one thing I will say too, because I have had regrets with this in the past, is whatever you want, make sure you talk about it ahead of time.
Yes.
Because if you don't say anything, you will be uncomfortable and you will regret it. And you'll kind of hold that resentment of like, I wish I would have said something, you know? So just make your wishes known, but be kind and loving when you do it.
Well, I feel that even with her, like we were holding her by 5:20, and I honestly think we had people at the hospital till like 11.
Oh man.
We did, and at the time I was just like, you don't want to just say it
fast because we knew you were tired.
Yeah, so I think definitely with like my next ones, when I have more, like I'll definitely set that with Ryan, like, okay,
we love you guys, but we're tired.
You and me, baby. No one knows.
And I think too, there's nothing wrong with having a plan and letting everyone know your plan.
Yep.
Especially like every woman that's been a mom, the greatest day of your life is having a baby and enjoying that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're hesitant at all of what you want, don't do it. Just enjoy it.
Or if there's any negative, hard feelings, you don't want that energy in the room for the most special moment of your life. So if there is like, especially any resolved feelings, just say, we'll let you know once they're here and you're more than welcome to come visit.
Yep.
I do think I loved my mother-in-law being in the room with me, because she has always been so like grateful and just positive about the experience afterwards. Like, I mean, I love it. She was like, Shelby, you were such a rock star. And I'm like, oh, keep talking. No,
keep it coming.
But I think just seeing your daughter-in-law go through something like that's like seeing your own daughter. So
it's a bonding moment. Yeah.
So if you do decide to, it is a bonding moment. So that's what I loved about it. Okay. Favorite piece of mom advice that you'd ever received?
Okay, I know mine.
Okay.
And this could come off a little harsh, so don't think that it's harsh, but I will never forget my grandma Carol, my dad's mom, telling me this when I had Dakota. And I remember it clear as day in my little basement apartment. She was holding him on my couch, and she said, sweetheart, I'm gonna give you one piece of parenting advice that was given to me, and it was the greatest thing that was ever said to me. And she said, never do anything for your children that they can do by themselves.
Yes.
Obviously, love your children, smother them in love and attention, but don't
coddle them.
Don't coddle them. Don't put their shoes on and tie their shoes their whole life. You know what I mean? If they can do it by themselves, they can do it by themselves. So teach them those things, and then once they've got it, let them do it. And that has seriously been the best piece of advice.
I've lived by that advice too, and I always think of it, and I think it's such a good piece of advice. I think for me, it's just laughing. I feel like sometimes I come off as a very controlling person because I am a control freak, and there's certain things that I'm like, and I am a neat freak too. So having a little infant that's trying to walk and crawl everywhere and pull everything down, and I felt like that could be very hard for me because I do like things in order. I like things perfect. And I remember my mom telling me to just laugh and don't even worry about it, because in 6 years, he won't even care about it. Like, he won't even care to be home sometimes. That I'm actually very impressed and proud of myself, because there are times where Leo makes a complete mess. Like yesterday, I put him in his high chair, and literally walls and everything's just caked with food because we gave him we gave him chocolate for the first time, and there's chocolate literally everywhere. And in the back of my mind, I could feel myself being like, you know. But then I remember that piece of advice, and I just looked at Steve and started laughing, and I'm like, he is loving this, and I am so grateful that I realized that before I had Leo, because I feel like he's gonna have such a better childhood. And I know that any mess can be cleaned up. I'm not going to be uptight. I'm not going to be weird. You enjoy your childhood and have fun, because at the same time, I'm going to turn around and clean up after you and teach you how to clean up after yourself. So I think just laughing things off. If it's not life or death, or it's not going to hurt your child, just have fun and let them do it and let them laugh and play. You know what I mean? So I think just laugh, enjoy it, and laugh.
Totally.
I don't know if I have one. I really don't know if I have
We
one.
got so much at our baby showers. You need to go back and rewatch that video.
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea.
Because I was trying to think of the advice we got there, and I can't remember. I remember Grandma. Grandma did say that day, she said, our same Grandma Carol, she said, little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. And I think that goes back to just laughing things off. Right now, what they're doing, what's driving you crazy is not a big deal.
No.
Enjoy these small little problems. If they get a paper cut, kiss it better, because guess what? In 15 years, you're gonna have to do a lot more than kiss a little paper cut.
Well, and I think too, along with that is we have to know that little people, like little problems to us, they are big problems to them. Like
It's true.
when, I don't know, when they have, like they want a toy or they're out of food and they're crying and we're like, this does not matter, like why are you crying right
We
now?
know
Those
that.
are huge problems to them, to where like, and they equivalent to our big problems. Because, you know, so I think that's something we have to remember too, is their little problems are a big deal. Like you need to address that they're going through a life crisis. You need to help them out.
Their paper cut's the biggest deal in their life right now. Okay, next one. What is the best part of being a mom?
Oh, everything.
There are so many.
There's not a bad part. It's so fun.
I think watching your child learn and grow.
Yeah.
I think that's the most rewarding thing for me, because there are so many times where I will just let Leo do his thing and be Leo, and I'm like constantly like trying not to cry, or I'm taking a million pictures and videos because what he's doing, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, he's like, music just turned on and he stands up and he starts bouncing and shaking his bum. Like, he understands that you dance when music comes on. So I think that's the most rewarding part for me, is just seeing him learn and grow. Because when I met him, he was this tiny little thing that didn't know anything. So I think that's so cool.
I think something that could be rewarding, but I just so special about them, especially now, is they love you unconditional.
Yeah.
Like, their love is the most pure to you right now. Like, they're the one person, like, people in your life right now that love you no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know, just special.
My favorite part about being a mom is seeing your child becoming the person that you've always dreamed they would become. Just little things that like are important to you that you're like, I hope I instill this in my child.
I think that's all the questions we're gonna do today. We only got through about half of them, so
We can talk a lot.
yeah, I
Sorry.
said when we were like planning this, we're like, we'll just have one person answer each question, and that didn't happen. We didn't realize how long we could talk about every single question. So we will do another one of these very soon and answer the rest of these questions. But yeah, if you have any question ideas for the future one, comment down below and make sure you subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Tiny, what did you just give her?
Oh wait.
Some tortilla.
Oh shoot.
He
baby.
just sat it in her mouth and she won't use her hands. She's like leaning over. Look at her.
Is she okay?
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
so.
she's fine.
acting fine.